Hi there, welcome to our kitchen. Good boy. Today, for the first time, we'll be making mac and cheese, which is a very basic recipe, pretty easy to mess with. I mean, what more do you want? So, to start things off, best thing to do is preheat your oven to 180 if you want to put it in the oven, or you could do something that sounds like it's called wet mac. Don't get me started. So, mac and cheese, super easy. It's boiled pasta and a cheese sauce. But super easy to do. Take not a lot of time, really. 20 minutes. First thing I did was get a pan of water onto the boil, plenty of salt in it. So that's already boiling, ready to go, so then you can put your pasta in. And this is a lot of pasta. I like to eat. And I've dropped some on the hob. So, let's do that stir. And kind of leave that to go. So, start your cheese sauce. We're going to start with making a roux, which is kind of the base for any sauce. It's literally just butter in a pan and let it melt. And then in a minute, we'll add some flour. So now that the butter's melted, and my arm is right in the shot, I'm going to add some flour. I add like a little bit at a time, and then do a whisk. So depending on how thick you would want your cheese sauce, you add more or less flour. It's, you know, a nice way of controlling it. If you want a wet mac like Sam does, you know, less flour, keep it really wet. I myself like quite a thick cheese sauce, so I'm going to make a very thick roux, which is like that. And you just leave it on there to cook for a minute, cooks out some of the fat. And while you're doing that, just give your pasta a bit of a nudge. Here's the fun part. That was cheesy. So we just have to add milk a little bit at a time and give it a whisk in between. Add a little bit of milk, whisk, until it's all kind of completely the same consistency, which is a word I hate. But whisk till it's all roughly the same. And add a little bit more. When all the milk is mixed in, it's become a bechamel now, which is the base of a cheese sauce, as well as a few other sauces. We'll go over that way later. Right. My brain has stopped working. So, we're going to add mustard to it, and if you're not a fan of mustard, honestly leave it out. Because, yeah, it can affect the taste. Just mix the mustard through till you see a slight change of colour. There we go, mustard's all added completely. And once you've got this added in, keep it on a fairly low heat, like decently low. I personally add a little bit of Marmite, because I really like Marmite, and it gives it a very nice flavour. Question mark? I think that's up for debate. Depends how you fall on the liking or disliking Marmite side. On to the next step. Cheese, the main ingredient of cheese sauce. So, literally tip it all in.
The dog's eating.
I know. House, I'm busy.
You're eating, aren't you, baby?
You've got chicken coming in a minute. You can use whatever cheese you want, really. I use a mix of cheddar and red Leicester mostly. I am also partial to putting some Parmesan in it, and you can kind of vary the amount. Kind of try to keep it under about 200 grams total, otherwise it's a bit too fatty. Just start mixing that in. And then we also add vegan and vegeta yeast flakes. Also a very nice kind of flavour to it. Also kind of a nice colour. They taste like Marmite. Spoiler, because it's all yeast. So mix all that in until you get kind of that point. And again, depending on how thin or thick you want it, if you want like a thin pour over sauce, obviously add a bit more milk. If you want a thicker sauce, add more flour, more cheese. But you just gotta, why can't I say got to? You've got to kind of let it bubble away. You know, it's basically there. And once you start seeing the ribbons forming, I'd say that's the perfect consistency. So as you're mixing, it'll leave behind a little trail. And then if you want, you can leave that on low, just bubbling away. Kind of helps, cooks out some of the excess fat left in there. And just make sure that your pasta's kind of not on fire. But personally, this is the absolute perfect consistency for me. So I'm going to take this off the heat, just leave it at the back, let it cool. It will thicken as it cools as well. And I need to tidy the kitchen because this is driving me insane. My sous chef is joining me to talk about some other things you can do with mac and cheese, as well as something I absolutely love to do, but isn't a very common trend, a breadcrumb topping. So, my breadcrumb topping is basically just panko breadcrumbs or golden breadcrumbs, whichever you've got on hand, whichever you prefer. A little bit of parmesan, a little bit of salt and pepper, and then I add herbs, personally. I would add oregano, but we have none because we can't leave the caravan. Right. Literally, chuck it in like a little Tupperware or whatever you've got, shake it all up, and when you put it in the pan to go in the oven, sprinkle some breadcrumbs on top. Honestly, it adds like a really nice kind of different texture to kind of what could be a soggy mac and cheese. But it all depends on your taste. You're getting heavy. Mac and cheese is both super easy to make and super easy to change. So something that I see quite a lot is like a chicken fajita mac and cheese. So you add lots of kind of Mexican style spices to the cheese sauce, such as cumin, paprika, chili powder, as well as the fact that you can add roasted peppers, roasted onions, and like some shredded chicken into the mix. Also, you don't have to just use macaroni, obviously. We're actually using fusilli today because I really like fusilli, that's kind of the only reason. And we have a lot of it. Also, to further explain Sam's wet mac, it's kind of what we've done here today without the baking process. You don't need to bake it, it's just my preference, and I'm cooking so I get to decide, as well as the breadcrumb. You just leave it quite a wet sauce, mix whatever pasta you got through it, and serve it up like that. Still nice. I did not fancy it today. Hi. Yeah. Sous chef was being sad on the floor, so we've had to pick him up. Hey, are you going to test pasta with me? So yeah, my pasta's done now. I've taken it off the boil. You know it's done when it's al dente, which basically means it's kind of it's cooked, but still has a little bit of firmness to it, or a bite, some people would refer to it as. So the last step for the sauce, what I'm going to do is, preferably not burn myself, is add a little bit of the pasta water to the sauce. Mix that in, because that just kind of helps bind the sauce, it allows it to bind to the pasta a lot better, and it means you're just kind of getting a little bit more sauce. I mean, I'm going to drain the pasta. I feel like that's self-explanatory for pasta. Now that I've taken some of the pasta water, well, I burned myself. I left a little bit of water covering the pasta at the bottom. And I know I've just added some to this, but it really does help kind of, as I said, bind everything together, gives it a nice kind of, I don't even know, a certain je ne sais quoi, as it were. So, I've drained the pasta, put the cheese sauce on top, I'm just going to mix it all through. When it's all mixed in, chuck it in a pan, whatever you've got, whatever you want. So, just kind of roughly level it. Make sure you've got all your nice sauce out. Didn't like that freeze. If you were going for Sam's weird wet mac, or whatever your preference, I've got to keep saying that, kind of serve it up like this once it's all mixed through, but I like a bit of crumb on top, so to sprinkle the crumb over. Doesn't have to be exact, doesn't have to be an exact covering, you can have less or more. I made too much. I'm definitely going to leave that in. You could also add cheese on top and make it a really cheesy mac and cheese, and I had to think about that sentence because it's too hard for me. Right, then in the oven, I think we're going to go with probably about 15 minutes. The oven, as I said, was preheated at the start. I set it to about 180. That's that. Off. Honestly, we can just leave it now. Yeah, I mean, we set a timer, come back in 15 minutes, it'll be done, it'll be glorious. Alright, it's been 15 minutes, should be ready. Obviously, hot. I really shouldn't need to say that, but maybe just in case. Ugh. There we go. That was loud. Make sure you turn the oven off, don't want to burn the house down. Right, out of the oven, dished up, ready to go. So, put on some Brooklyn Nine-Nine and enjoy your pasta. Here's a quick rundown of how I make mac and cheese. Step 1, preheat the oven to about 180 degrees Celsius. Step 2, bring a large pan of salted water to the boil. Step 3, prep the ingredients, grate your cheese, combine the breadcrumb mix and weigh out the pasta. Step 4, when the salted water is boiling, add roughly 500 grams of pasta of your choice. Step 5, in a smaller pan, heat up roughly 40 grams of butter. Step 6, when the butter is fully melted, add roughly 40 grams of plain flour. You can use less for a wetter sauce or more for a thicker sauce and whisk together until homogeneous. Now it has become a roux. Step 7, allow the roux to cook for 1 minute, then begin adding milk bit by bit until you've added the full amount, roughly 350 ml. Step 8, when the milk is fully incorporated, add roughly a teaspoon of English mustard if using, and then roughly the same amount of Marmite, again if using. Step 9, when the mix is lightly bubbling, fold in the cheese, roughly about 200 grams. Step 10, when the cheese is nearly all melted, add the yeast flakes if using them. Step 11, when the cheese sauce is fully combined, keep it on a low heat or remove from heat until needed. When your pasta is cooked to al dente, take roughly 2 tablespoons of the water and add to the cheese sauce. Drain the pasta and mix the sauce once more. Step 13, combine the pasta with the sauce until all the pasta is evenly coated. Step 14, put the combined pasta and sauce into a dish ready for the oven and top with the breadcrumb mix. Step 15, cook for roughly 15 to 20 minutes. You know the pasta's ready when the top is lightly browned. Serve and enjoy your mac and cheese. Hopefully we'll be back for some more videos soon. Kind of depends on if we can get ingredients at the minute. But I think that's all done. You else? You gonna wave? Thank you. You gonna wave bye-bye? Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
What does al
Hey,
dente
Siri.
mean?
What does al dente mean? God, you're useless on my watch.
Yes.
What does al dente mean?
Al dente means
Oh.
food, typically pasta, cooked so as to be still firm when bitten.
Still firm when bitten, there you
Yeah,
go.
there you go. So, I've kind of lost where I am.